Why do you need international assistance?
We don't have existing legal mechanism to prosecute the crime of aggression.
Reparation loan, special tribunal for Russian aggression against Ukraine is a very important achievement.
No one should be above the law.
Iryna Mudra is a leading Ukrainian legal expert and senior government official serving as the deputy head of the Office of the President of Ukraine. She plays a key role in building international mechanisms for holding Russia accountable, from securing compensation for war damages to establishing a special tribunal for the crime of aggression. She also leads major judicial reform initiatives in Ukraine, advancing transparent judge selection, rule of law standards, and post-war legal reconstruction.
Hello, my name is Natalka Cmoc. You're listening to Off the Record. I'm here today with Iryna Mudra, who is the deputy head of the Office of the President responsible for legal issues. I am very happy that you're here today, Iryna. I just want to mention that I met you when you were Deputy Minister of Justice. And in fact, one of the first times I met you, we were at a conference, an accountability conference in Toronto. And from the moment I met you, I was very impressed with your knowledge, how you handle yourself, and your passion for accountability of Ukraine. This is something that I feel from you. And I'm really glad you're here today because you're working on many, many, many priorities, and we're going to be going through them today. But welcome.
Thank you, Natalka. I do thank you very much. And for me, it's a real pleasure and honor to be here to speak to you. I also remember that conference in Toronto and, fighting for accountability and bringing Russian Federation, the aggressive state, to the responsibility is one of my KPIs in my personal life as well.
Yes, I feel it.
And not only in personal life, but in the life of our state. And for the security of rules-based international order, I would say.
And this is very important to you. You are a lawyer, but you're not just a lawyer. Your background is actually quite interesting. If I saw you have education in your background, you're a lawyer, you've worked for private banks, correct? So you have quite a broad experience, but I saw that you were named Deputy Minister in 2022, and from a conversation we had earlier, you wanted to come and work for the government when the full-scale invasion occurred. Why?
Yes. My whole career was connected with the banks. So I'm a banking lawyer. I used to be a chief compliance officer. I built the compliance department from scratch in one of the biggest state-owned banks. I have several higher educations, and legal education is among them. And my decision to join Ministry of Justice was a very conscious decision. It was taken exactly after the war started, and I decided that the state needs my knowledge, expertise, skills, because in Ocean Bank, where I used to work previously, I was the chief legal advisor managing the case of Ocean Bank against the Russian Federation on the assets lost in Crimea because of illegal annexation of Crimea. And I thought that today, back in 2022, my state needs me to serve and to punish the neighbor who initiated and started this conquest, illegal war, and that the justice should prevail, and there shouldn't be no room for impunity. And of course, as I said, it was a conscious decision.
Yes.
I joined Ministry of Justice. I was offered by the minister of that time, Mr. Marluska, to become his deputy, and I gladly accepted that offer. And after 2 years of work in the Ministry of Justice, I was offered to be moved to the president's office and to continue those tracks which I initiated in the Ministry of Justice on international.
Yes, and I'm not sure everyone's always aware of what you have done. I have watched it, and because we worked closely with Canada, so the accountability issue comes through on many fronts. It was, and we'll get to all the topics, but reparation loan, special tribunal for Russian aggression against Ukraine is a very important achievement. I understand that the technical work is done, and you were the leader of this work. So it's quite a lot that you have worked on here. Did you want to maybe tell us a little bit about the special tribunal work and what to describe to people? What does that mean? Because I think most people aren't aware of that it exists, and they have no understanding of what it means.
Well, I would not speak about special tribunal as some separate mechanism or something like that. It is a part of a comprehensive system of accountability, which we tried to build from the very beginning, from the very first day of this war. We all remember peace formula of President Zelensky, and point 7 of this peace formula. It is called justice section, and it covers the very different mechanisms and directions for the accountability issue, like the special tribunal for the crime of aggression, the compensation mechanism to or reparation mechanism to compensate damages, loss, and injury caused by this war. Of course, investigation and prosecution of war crimes inside the country, in national system, as well as outside the country in international system. And of course, cooperation with ICC, which is also the part of this accountability system.
International Criminal Court, for those who might not know what ICC is.
So all of these main issues are today under my supervision, which I'm very proud of. And in all these directions, we have moved we have done quite good progress in all these directions. Of course, within my mandate or capacity as the deputy head of President's office, I also am responsible for judicial reform.
Yes.
It's also important because it relates to the rule of law in the country, and it is one of the most important directions in accordance with with the recommendations of European Commission of European Union on our path to EU.
And it actually is one of the core topics, issues that is under the mandate of the G7 Ambassador Support Group here, and we work with you and others on how can we support on this judicial reform.
Exactly. But coming back to the tribunal, what is it? What is the special tribunal? So when the war started, we understood that we don't have a existing legal mechanism to prosecute the crime of aggression. The paternal crime, from which all other war crimes were rooted from.
Yes.
And the crime of aggression means that there are people in the aggressor state who decided on commencement of the war, who planned this war of conquest, and who did the very first and of course continuous actions to launch and to continue this war. And unfortunately, International Criminal Court today does not have mandate to prosecute the crime of aggression because Russia and Belarus did not ratify the the Rome Statute, and the Kampala amendments did not allow to prosecute the crime of aggression. That is why Ukraine initiated the creation of a special tribunal on the model of Nuremberg Tribunal, which was created back in 1945.
Around this time.
Yes, 80 years. Today is 80 years of the creation of Nuremberg Tribunal. And there was a very extensive work of our diplomats, lawyers, our state officials, our president, the head of the president's office, government, collecting the international efforts supporting the creation of the special tribunal for the crime of aggression.
Why do you need international assistance? Why can't, I've heard that question, why can't Ukraine just set this up on its own? Why do you need countries like Canada was part of the core group?
Yeah.
What does that add, or why is that something Ukraine asked for?
Well, first, just from purely legal standpoint, we don't have the jurisdiction, internal jurisdiction to prosecute the leadership of the sovereign state. Leadership. It's the president, prime minister, and minister of foreign affairs of Russian Federation. It's first thing. The second thing, although it is a war against a state, it's not just. It is the breach of the paramount norms of international law, of UN Charter. It's the breach of the statute of UN Charter. It's not just an issue of Ukraine. It is an issue of the state which didn't respect the statute of UN, United Nations, and which breached all the relevant international law norms and articles of the Charter. So, that is why it is for a global response, not just for Ukraine to respond. And that is why these collective measures were very important to show the world that the crime of aggression couldn't remain unpunished and unresponded. That is why 40 states collected together, formed a core group, and started to develop the legal documents.
Yes.
To create the special tribunal. And I will remind, the special tribunal will not prosecute all the war criminals. No, for this purpose, there is International Criminal Court, there are national proceedings and investigations, but the special tribunal will bring to responsibility the highest political and military leadership of Russian Federation, about 30 people. But of course, the main persons are these three people whom I named.
Really important. So it took a long time, but really when you think about it, it actually moved quite quickly. The technical work is done. And so what's the next step?
I would say that political blessing we have received in May last year in Lviv.
I was there.
Yes. Actually, this year.
Yes, that's right.
And then we started the process of agreeing the agreement between the Council of Europe, because special tribunal will be anchored in the Council of Europe, although it's an international tribunal and not only member state of Council of Europe will join the special tribunal agreement, but also non-member states like Canada.
Like Canada, yes.
That political decision has been taken. Then the agreement has been concluded between Ukraine and the Council of Europe in June this year. My president was present in the Council of Europe for signing of this agreement. Now the work is the legal work is on the final stage. We have to approve the enlarged partial agreement at the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe.
Yes.
And we expect it to be done by the end of this year in December. And after that, the process of ratification of this enlarged partial agreement will commence. Those states who will need ratification will have to pass their national procedures for this. Those states who do not need ratification will have to notify Council of Europe of their decisions.
Yes.
So we do expect this to happen soon, so that next year the launch of the tribunal will start. And we know that by the way, the European Union has already saved the financing for their advance team in the amount of 10 million euros, which is a very, very great news for Ukraine. So advanced team who will work on the organizational issues for the creation of the special tribunal can start early next year. The tribunal will be hosted by the Netherlands, and it will be located in The Hague. We are looking for the premises for this tribunal now. So the group of people, the advanced team, will go early next year to start all technical and organizational issues in order this tribunal be operationalized and start functioning by the end of 2026.
And can it be done in absentia? Did I say that right?
Yeah. Well, in absentia.
Absentia,
yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Unlike ICC, International Criminal Court, this tribunal can trial the criminals in absentia. It is clearly provided by the statute of the tribunal. I need to have. I need to say about this troika, as it is called, an immunity issue for this troika. Of course, well, the tribunal will have the possibility to investigate, to collect evidences, to prepare the suspicion indictment, and to announce the indictment, to present the indictment, and then to pass it to the pre-trial judge, and then with regards to troika, the proceeding will be suspended until they are in the office. When they leave the office, when this immunity is not there anymore, but until they are in the office, they are protected by immunity. But the very issue that the indictment, which will be very well-grounded, argumented, justified, and everyone will see those crimes that they have committed will be presented to the whole world.
Yes.
I think that is also...
It's very powerful.
Very powerful and important. With regard to all the rest, criminals, commanders, all other... state of high rank.
The war crimes are now listed at the thousands.
More than 100,000.
Yes.
Our Prosecutor General Office already initiated more than 170,000 war crimes. But here we are not speaking about war crimes. We are speaking about one crime of aggression. Having said that, it will be a powerful message. It will be a very strong political message, and of course, with regards to all the rest, trials in absentia, the verdicts will be possible, and this will be the strong response to the act of aggression, the most serious crime in the world.
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking that on, because you're somebody who took that on with passion. You're very knowledgeable. I know that my colleagues in Canada really appreciated working with you as well. So it was not an easy job that you were given, but you are clearly making a big difference. And we know that this war can't be considered over until there's some accountability. So it's really important to acknowledge that.
Thank you, Natal.
You are somebody who has a lot of integrity. You believe in the judicial system. You believe in democracy. You believe in institutions. This past week in Ukraine has been extremely challenging in terms of an investigation coming forward related to corruption at the highest levels. It upset a lot of Ukrainians and international partners. So I'd like to hear your reaction on that. But I mean, I feel like the institutions stepped up. So as somebody that watching how the institutions are functioning, if they're functioning, are you comfortable commenting on this?
Well, it's not an easy issue.
No.
It's quite a sensitive one. But what I would like to say a few points here.
Yes.
First, I have to reassure that Ukraine is upholding its passion, commitment, and very, very committed to upholding the rule of law and having independent institutions fighting with corruption. So first, Ukraine's anti-corruption system is quite mature and independent. We have two strong institutions, National Anti-Corruption Bureau and Special Anti-Corruption Prosecution Office, which are independent, which have enough resources to investigate and to bring to accountability and responsibility those ones who did wrongdoings and other criminal actions. And I can assure that neither president nor prime minister nor other governmental bodies will interfere into the independent investigation. There are institutions, let them do their work, is the first thing. Second one, no one should be above the law. So it is, of course, the principle of innocence, the presumption of innocence is a cornerstone for democratic justice,
including our system,
of course. But if there are evidences, if there are proofs of defects which were publicly announced, and these proofs and evidences are sustainable and justified, let the independent court analyze them and bring the proper verdict according to the level of the wrongdoing. So there is independent court. They have to be allowed to work without any pressure, without any public, interference, and without, of course, interference of any state officials. So everyone has to do their work. The third, what I would also like to say, that there is a strong tone from the top, from my president, in fighting with corruption, regardless of the rank of the top official, regardless of the personal connections of this top official. And President clearly voiced this and was very, his messages were very clear and concrete. But the judiciary has to determine the outcome themselves. This case also advances our commitment as the EU candidate state. We clearly understand if we do not allow the independent institutions to do their work and to investigate properly and to prosecute the people, there will be no chances to become an EU member, to become a part of the family of European Union. It's our commitment, it's our willingness, it's the willingness of our society, of our people, and we have to do this, we will do this, regardless of whether someone wants this or not. But what I would like to urge the public and the society to stop speculating with this and to let the independent institutions do their work.
Spoken very firmly. Thank you very much for sharing your views with us. I think your views are really important in this area, given your role. So it's important to hear from you. So I appreciate you've come here and openly discuss this with us. It means a lot to those who will be listening as well, and I think they'll be interested to hear this. So judicial reform, going back to that a little bit, because you had been working on judicial reform when you were deputy minister. You were given this position at the Office of the President to really make sure that you could focus on the special tribunal, which you have done, and it's moving and progressing well. In terms of judicial reform now, will you now have time to turn your attention to some of the reform efforts that you had started then? Is that your interest?
Well, of course, it's my interest, it's my mandate, it's my task, I would say.
If not personal passion, I feel when I speak to you about this. Yes.
First of all, when I joined President's office, I immediately started to develop the strategy on the development of the judicial, on the justice reform. I know there were a lot of issues why the strategy was not approved by the president, etc. But we developed a very robust and very, good, powerful document. We shared this with the civil society. We discussed this publicly, openly, and despite the fact that it was not approved by the decree of the president, it is under the fulfillment. So we are on the way of the fulfillment of the execution of this strategy. And this strategy, this draft strategy, it was a basis for the roadmap which was developed by the government last year. So we are pretty sure that our work was not in vain. It was done, and thanks to the civil society, which provided very good recommendations, very good ideas. When we saw the recommendations of European Commission, the last year and this year, so in many parts,
are they aligned?
Yes.
Okay,
in many parts
that's good.
It aligned with the strategy. That is why I can definitely say that we are executing this strategy. So for me personally, the judicial reform is important to implement. First of all, I need to say that our judiciary is functioning during this war, which is also a powerful signal saying that we have a lot of challenges related to judiciary, to courts, to the number of judges, etc. But the courts are working. Judiciary is functioning. Although there are some concerns, there are some things which should be improved, and here we are definitely in line with the recommendations of European Commission, and we will be implementing these recommendations. So we already when the recommendations were published, we already did few of them, which were there, like the appointment of judges to the Constitutional Court. So the president appointed two judges and covered 2 vacancies to the Constitutional Court. Then the High Justice. High Commission of Justice, High Council of Justice. We also appointed two members from the president. We are awaiting for the advocates to do the same, because for several years the advocates are not able to provide their candidates to the High Council of Justice. We are a bit concerned about the ongoing processes in the High Qualification Commission of Judges. There are some concerns with regards to the conflict of interest of some members, because we see that some members of either High Council of Justice or High Qualification Commission of Judges are participating in the selection process. There should be clear criteria avoiding the conflict of interest. There should be no discrimination with regards to other participants. So I think that in this respect, the procedures could be improved a little bit, so that there is no speculations, I would say, on that. But all in all, yes, I can confirm that me personally and the President Office, we are very much committed to the continuation of the judicial reform, to the continuation of implementation of the recommendations of European Commission, and together with the government, together with the Ministry of Justice and other ministries, we will be doing our best to implement all these recommendations as quick as possible.
Okay, so today we discussed the importance of accountability for war of aggression at the highest level, so that there is actually a mechanism in place to be able to start that work. The process, we talked about the institutions in Ukraine and why they matter, especially in corruption cases. And we talked about reforms as you're progressing, even though you're fighting a full-on war, you are still putting all your energy into the reform agenda that aligns very nicely with the European Union. Did I get that right?
Yes.
I want to thank you very much for coming to speak with us today. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about or mention?
Yep. One issue.
Well, the floor is yours.
Reparation law.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Yes, that's very important. I'm glad we're going to talk about that.
It's part also of accountability. I treat it as a part of accountability issue.
It is.
Although someone might think that it's just some technical financial debate discussion.
No, maybe tell us what it is, because when you explain it, it's clear.
So it's not financing debate.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the Ukraine's survival. It is about the European security, and it is about the preservation of the rule-based international order. We all remember who started the war. We all know who is the aggressor, who should pay for their reparations and compensation to victims, the reparations to the state for all these destructions, for all these damages, for all this harm and loss of lives, etc. It is the Russian Federation. It has a clear international duty to make reparations. Russia, of course, will, by consent, it will never it will never do this.
On its
of
own,
course.
no.
On
It has
its
to be
own, no.
pressured.
But there are Russian assets located outside Russia in the jurisdictions of
How
our
much?
partners.
How much? Do we have a good estimate?
We don't have an exact estimate. We have a very, very rough estimate only from those jurisdictions who publicly said this or publicly published this, and it is about 300 billion.
300 billion euros
Yes.
is significant.
So according to international law, Russia has to pay. According to international law, Russia is a debtor, and there is Russian assets which could be used as the sources for paying these reparations. We all understand that today there is no political will because of different concerns, worries, hurdles, etc. Political, legal, economic, financial, etc., etc. But that decision on managing these Russian assets in a way that it produces the revenues, it produces the profit, it produces some funds which could be used for Ukraine is a very, very wise and very timely needed solution. That's why today we are speaking not about confiscation, what is still under the discussion, because we don't treat the reparation loan as an alternative to confiscation in no way. We treat it as an interim measure, which is very needed for Ukraine. It is a safe option. So far, there will be no confiscation. This reparation law will be backed up by Russian assets, and Russia still will have the duty to make reparations. So the decision on this reparation loan, Ukraine expects this decision by the end of this year, in December. It is now highly discussed in the EU, we know, and there is a position of Belgium who actually holds these Russian assets in Euroclear in their jurisdictions. They expressed justified concerns, legal concerns, on the decision of reparation loan, but we do think that the states will be able to find the proper means or proper mechanism to satisfy Belgium's concerns and to share this legal risk. Although I do think as a lawyer, and we have a clear legal opinion of international lawyers, that it is very unlike and very remote legal risks. But at least, this is what the lawyers say, and after having analyzed all legal consequences. But this risk, it exists, and Belgium would like to have sharing by of this risk by other EU states, and I do believe that they will find a way how to share this risk and to provide this reparation loan. This reparation loan will mainly be used for, of course, for the needs for our military support, for the acquisition of weaponry and other military needs. But of course, part of these funds would be secured for reconstruction of critical energy infrastructure and other budgetary support, which will be urgent and very, very needed. What we would also like to have as part from these funds to secure as an advance payment to the compensation fund,
yes,
from which the compensation would be paid. This also will be a very important step towards our compensation mechanism and paying of compensations to our victims.
Really critical. So I'm glad you reminded us of that, of the reparation loan, because it's all part of the accountability, and someone has to pay for the war, and it makes sense that the aggressor pays for the crimes that they made. So thank you very much for your work, for coming today to walk us through this. I've been speaking with Iryna Mudra. I'm Natalka Cmoc. You've been listening to Off the Record.
Thank you, Natalka. Thank you.